imagining a life free from fear, full of simple pleasures and genuine friendship. Sounds appealing, right? Well, over 2,000 years ago, the Greek philosopher Epicurus laid out a roadmap for achieving just that. Let's explore his ideas in Letter to Menoeceus, a concise yet powerful guide to the good life. Epicurus, born in 341, lived during a turbulent period in Greek history following the death of Alexander the Great. He founded his own philosophical school, known as the Garden, which welcomed people from all walks of life, including women and slaves, a radical concept for the time. Unlike other schools that emphasized abstract theories and political engagement, Epicurus focused on practical ethics and the pursuit of happiness, or what he called ataraxia, tranquility and freedom from disturbance. His philosophy, often misunderstood, is not about hedonism in the sense of unrestrained indulgence, but rather about carefully managing pleasure and pain to achieve lasting well-being. Letter to Menoeceus is a personal letter written by Epicurus to a young follower named Menoeceus, outlining the core principles of his philosophy. The letter begins with a call to action, urging Menoeceus to diligently practice philosophy in order to secure a life of happiness. Epicurus emphasizes that it's never too early or too late to pursue wisdom, regardless of age. It's beneficial to the soul. He then tackles common misconceptions about the gods, arguing that they are indeed blessed and immortal, but are not concerned with human affairs. This removes a major source of fear and anxiety for many people. He suggests we should not fear the gods because they are not involved in our daily lives, thus they will not punish or reward us. Next, Epicurus addresses the fear of death, perhaps the most pervasive fear of all. He argues that death is simply the cessation of sensation and therefore cannot be harmful. Death is nothing to us. He writes, since when we exist, death is not present, and when death is present, we do not exist. It's a logical argument designed to dismantle the emotional power death holds over us. Epicurus claims that fearing death is absurd, as it is the privation of sensation. In other words, fearing death makes no sense when death itself is nothing. With those two major anxieties out of the way, Epicurus turns to his core philosophy of pleasure. He clarifies that pleasure is the beginning and end of a happy life. However, he immediately qualifies this statement, emphasizing that he's not talking about fleeting, sensual pleasures like overeating or excessive drinking. True pleasure, according to Epicurus, comes from the absence of pain in the body and trouble in the soul. It's about moderation, prudence, and self-sufficiency. For example, he would rather eat simple foods and not be sick later than eat rich foods and suffer the consequences. He identifies two types of pleasure, kinetic and static. Kinetic pleasures are those that involve activity or stimulation, like enjoying a delicious meal. Static pleasures are those that involve a state of tranquility and contentment, like being free from hunger or emotional distress. Epicurus argues that static pleasures are superior because they are more stable and lasting. Epicurus also stresses the importance of prudence, or practical wisdom, in the pursuit of happiness. Prudence allows us to make rational choices, distinguishing between desires that are natural and necessary, natural but not necessary, and neither natural nor necessary. Natural and necessary desires, like food and shelter, should be satisfied. Natural but not necessary desires, like fancy food or luxurious housing, should be pursued with moderation. And desires that are neither natural nor necessary, like fame and fortune, should be avoided altogether. He stresses that we need to choose our desires carefully. Not all pleasures are worth the cost, and sometimes pain can lead to greater pleasure in the long run. Furthermore, he emphasizes the importance of justice and social responsibility. While Epicurus believed that pleasure was the ultimate good, he also recognized that living a virtuous life was essential for achieving lasting happiness. He argued that injustice is inherently unpleasant because it creates anxiety and fear of punishment. Thus, living justly is not only morally right but also conducive to personal well-being. So, what can we learn from Epicurus today? His philosophy offers several valuable lessons for living a happier and more fulfilling life. First, it teaches us to prioritize simple pleasures and cultivate contentment. Instead of constantly chasing after external validation and material possessions, we should focus on appreciating the small joys of life, like spending time with loved ones, enjoying nature, or engaging in meaningful activities. Second, it encourages us to confront our fears, especially the fear of death. By understanding that death is simply the absence of sensation, we can free ourselves from unnecessary anxiety and live more fully in the present moment. Third, Epicurus reminds us of the importance of moderation and prudence. By carefully managing our desires and making rational choices, we can avoid the pitfalls of overindulgence and live a more balanced and sustainable life. Fourth, it highlights the importance of friendship and community. Epicurus believed that friendship was one of the greatest sources of pleasure and that living in harmony with others was essential for personal well-being. He said of all the things that wisdom provides to make us entirely happy, by far the greatest is the possession of friendship. Epicurus' philosophy is a reminder that true happiness is not about acquiring wealth or achieving fame, but about cultivating inner peace, living virtuously, and cherishing meaningful relationships. By following his advice, we can all create a more joyful and fulfilling life, free from fear and full of genuine happiness. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this exploration of Epicurus, be sure to subscribe for more book recommendations and philosophical insights. What did you find most insightful about Epicurus' teachings? Let me know in the comments below.